Hi. I want to talk about 5 signs that your interview's maybe not going so well and how to turn it around before it's too late. Are you in an interview and the person's just doing you're not getting much feedback, you're not getting smiling, you're not getting any interjection. You gotta first find out, are they listening? And you've gotta ask yourself, are you talking too much? Because sometimes when you talk without breathing, the person doesn't have a chance to get a word in edgewise. So before it gets too far into it, read the room. Number 2, you're not getting any follow-up questions. So you're explaining things. You gotta ask yourself a question. Have you used too many acronyms? A lot of candidates know their industry very well, know their job very well, and they'll use industry insider terms. And not everyone's gonna stop you and say, what does that mean? So check that kind of language at the door and make sure, validate with the interviewer if they understood what you're saying. You don't wanna always say, do you understand what I'm saying? Because that'll get annoying. But find ways to find out if they do understand what you're talking about. Number 3, you're having to repeat yourself. If you're having to repeat yourself, that's also a sign that perhaps they're not listening. Tough to do. Take a breath. And maybe you could say, is there a better time that we can do this? Because maybe they're just distracted. And if you give them a way out, they may actually take you up on it. At the very least, it'll bring them back into the conversation, into the interview. And number 4, when the interview ends and you have not had a chance to highlight what you wanted to highlight, ask for 5 more minutes and really do not take more than 5. Get to the point and make sure you put your heart into it. You want to show your enthusiasm about that last subject that you feel that is really important for you getting the job that you didn't have a chance to do. So did you run out of time because you talked too much, they talked too much, or they just didn't give you enough time? Be mindful of that. And number 5, at the end of the interview, there's no commitment made. Make sure you leave the door wide open to let them know that you're open to any kind of feedback. And if they're brave enough to give you the feedback, maybe you did talk too much, they may give you that feedback, but you have to be really open to it. You can't say, I'm looking for feedback, but your body language says that you're really not open to it. So it's much better to get that interview back on track than get negative interview at the end of it. So look for those signs and try and recoup that interview before it's too late. I'm Dawn Williams. I can reach you on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Happy selling.